I'm Patrick Bailey with IQlist.com. Today is December 18th, 2018, and in this video I'm going to be talking about inadvertently 3D printing choking hazards for small children. Okay, now let me first say that I am no expert in this field. I just remember in the past, or probably seen some videos or something, of choking hazards for kids. And I've got kids myself, so you worry about them when they were little. Now they're older. They don't put things in their mouths like they did when they were toddlers. But I remember some videos. I went out and found this. I remember some kind of like show a long time ago on the news. Or it could be every Christmas they kind of show these little things. Here's this little test device showing a choking hazard. So if it fits in this, then it's a choking hazard. If it doesn't, it's not. And the choking hazard is for little kids. So I'm not worried about printing things out for adults or for myself or things like that. But one thing I am concerned about is next June, I'm going to be doing this homeschool conference. And last time I was there, I printed out a bunch of carabiners to give away. But this time I'm going to print out some. I'm going to print out the parts and allow people to put them together so they can mix and match colors. And if the parts are too small, there's going to be little kids there. And so if the parts are too small, that might be okay, but I want to make sure they're out of reach of kids. And I kind of want to prove that to myself or know that, am I printing out things that are hazardous to kids? So if you want some more information, I'll put some of these links up in the show notes. Here is the Consumer Product Safety Commission webpage. You can go here and find out a lot of information, which I'm not going to go into detail, but here they give the exact measurements for the device they use to actually do this. And here it is. It's a little diameter, it's 1.25 inches on an inner diameter. And then it has a little angle in like this. So it goes down like it's just a cylinder, and there's an angle, and it's 1 inch on one side and 2.25 inches on the other. So I'm going to go create one and 3D print it out and then examine my objects. Now, a couple other videos I found that were interesting that might go in more details on how this all works. I'll put these in the show notes too, but one is here. It's titled Rear Choke Tester for Small Parts to Check Whether Objects May Be Swallowed by Infants. That was a good one, had some information on there. Another one I found was Testing for Choking Hazards, a Guide for Parents. So I watched both of those to kind of get an idea on how this is used and why it's used. But with that, let me go into Fusion 360 and CAD one up. Okay, now I already CAD'd one up in Fusion 360, and I actually already printed one out. So here's actually my little guy. But I want to show you how I did it, because when it comes to this, it's important because it has to be precise. It could be smaller, and that's okay, but you definitely don't want it larger. And when it comes to 3D printing, I could go in there and resize it. So if I put this, I'm going to go put this thing out in Thingiverse. But if you download this from Thingiverse, and you print it, after you print it, measure it and make sure it is the right size. Because something could have gone wrong in the translation. STL files are unitless. They don't know about inches or millimeters. Now, typically, what I'm doing in Fusion 360, it knows millimeters, it knows inches, and so I do millimeters in Fusion 360 for simplicity, and when I translate that to an STL file, a millimeter unit ends up becoming a unitless unit in STL, and so it actually works out. The sizes are the same, but you want to make sure, because I could put it into a slicer and double the size, and then it doesn't count. So very, very cautious. When you print it out, measure it, measure it, measure it. But I'm going to show you what I did and repeat. I'm going to make a new one. The new one, I'm not going to put this one out in Thingiverse. I'll put the new one, which should be the same. But anyway, if I do an analysis here, you can see that is what is created. So with that, let me go start a new one and show you kind of what I did. So here we are. I'll click on that to show the origin. I'll right-click on this and say New Component. Even though there's only one component, it's a good habit to get into when you're doing Fusion 360. Choking. I'll just call it Choking Hazard. Probably has an official name, right? I'll just call it Choking Hazard. And so what I have here is I have an inner diameter of 1.25 inches. So I'll right-click on this plane and say Create a Sketch. And what I'll do is I'll create two circles. I'll press the S key to bring up the shortcuts. And then I can search for circle, but I've already brought it up. It's one of my ones I use a lot. So center diameter circle. Click on that. And I'll click on this to anchor it. And the center diameter needs to be 1.25 inches. Now you can see here in blue, it's in millimeters right now because I have my Fusion 360 set up to do millimeters. However, I can override that. So I can say 1.25 and type in inches. And so there you go. And see, it converts it, so it says 3.175 millimeters, but that is 1.25 inches. So I hit S again. I'll get the diameter tool again. And this one I'll make a little wider. So that was 31.7, I'll say 33. Doesn't need to be very thick. 34. Boom. There we go. So we'll try that. So that's, well, let me change it again. So 31, so let's make it 33.75. Boom. Doesn't need to be thick at all. And then what I'm going to do is I need to raise the whole thing up. So this is where it gets a little entertaining. So I'm going to go, what did I do before? That's what I did. So I can sit here and say, Q, I'll press Q for my press pull tool. And I'll go in here and I will select both of them in this case. And I'll start to pull it up. And I will pull it up. I know in my drawing here, the lowest one is 2.25 inches. So over here, it doesn't have to be much thicker. So I can say 2.4. In fact, I think the one I made was a little probably too thick on that. Yeah, we'll say 2.3. So I'll say 2.3 inches. And it adjusts itself. And so now I have this outer cylinder. But now what I need to do is kind of cut away some things. So I need to have this, I need to cut this out from the inside, which I can do, which is really kind of cool. So I can go in here and say, I will click on this to remove the body so I can see things. And I'll click on this plane here and say, create a sketch. And then I'll show this body real quick. Well, no, I don't want to show the body. Let me show the other sketch. I need to back up and redo this. Okay, give me a second to rethink what I did, but I'll get... give me a second. Okay, there's always more than one way to skin a cat, so I was thinking about a couple different ways to do it, and I got myself mixed up. So, stepping back, I don't need this full cylinder. I could make it work with this, but I'm going to go back in my history. I'm going to pull this back to my first sketch. Right-click on this, delete it. Right-click on that action, delete it. And then here, press Q for my press pull tool, and just select the outer ring. And I'll pull it up here. That angle is 2.25 inches. I'll do 2.3 inches. And so now I've got this ring. And so then what I'll do from here is I'll click on here so that body goes away. I no longer see it. And then I will sketch on this plane. So I'll click on this plane, create a sketch. And I can look at an angle here if I want. And I'm going to press L for the line tool and choose the center. And then go along here at a 0-degree angle. And now here, the funny thing, if you don't know this, you can do math in Fusion 360. So I know the diameter here of this inner ring is 1.25 inches. So I can say 1.25 inches divided by 2. And that hits me right on that spot there. I'll hit my L for my line tool again, go the other way, and do 1.25 inches divided by 2. Oh, where'd you go? There you go. Pull that down. So now they're hitting that side just fine. And go back here to the front. Hit my L key. And now go up. Oh, don't want to do twice. L. Click on that. Go up at a 90-degree angle. And do 2.3 inches. And do the same thing over here. 90-degree angle, 2.3 inches. And so now those tops should be hitting the top of the cylinder. So if I bring my body back, you'll see they are. But they're on the inside. And now if we look at this drawing over here, we'll see... Oops, stop. We'll see that's supposed to be 1 inch down over here and 2.25 inches down over here on the inside. Now these lines are drawn right now on the inside. Let me pull that out so it's easier to see. So if I zoom in, you can see that they are on the inside. So I'll take that away. I'll draw another line, take it from here, go down here, and I'll go to 1 inch. There we go. So that point is where it's supposed to go down. Hit the L key, go over here, and go 2.25 inches. And those 2 points are where it's supposed to angle down. So I can hit my L key, hit there, click on that. Oh, let me close it up here. There we go. So here is what's supposed to be a void inside of that. So how do you do that? So right now, I actually have kind of a funny situation here. My whole thing's a void. So what I need to do is need to fill in that bottom part. So let me take that body out for a second. Select this guy. So basically I want to kind of fill it in all the way to the edges. I can press Q, my press pull tool, and I can pull it out here, but let me bring the body back. If I pull it out here, rather than doing a cut, I can do a join. But, as you can see, oops. Oh, that sketch. Ah, where'd you go? Oh, get me set back there. Get rid of that body, do a Q, select that guy, bring the body back, and pull it. Change it to join. But now I got this funny shape because I got this thing coming out. What you can do, rather than just have this funny shape go out, you can say, rather than extend it a distance, extend it to an object. So I can select this object, and I can select the cylinder. And hit that join, and it should have joined that 1/2. I need to do it on the other side, though, too. So let me get rid of the body, bring back that sketch, press Q, select this guy, pull it this way. In fact, I'll click on over here so I'm on this side a little bit more. Bring the body back. Do a join to an object, to this object, hit OK. And so now if I look at the top, and I'll get rid of my sketches, I can kind of see that, but it's kind of hard to see where it's going. It's a little peculiar. So let me go here and go to my front, or back. Let me go front, there we go. And I can go inspection, and sectional analysis. Click on that, click here. Oh. I didn't want that side, but you can see it's going up. I didn't want that quite that side, so I can do inspect, sectional analysis, and let me get rid of the body for a second, and I'll click on this, bring the body back, hit OK, and there we go. So there we are, cut halfway between, and that's exactly what I want. There's only a little bit of space down here, but that's okay for what we're doing. The one I made before is probably a little thicker. So let me turn off the analysis. There's my object. So now this is my old one I made. Let me go back and now let's make it to an object. So I'll go here and choose 3D print, select this guy. I don't want it to go to Mesh Maker. Hit OK. And I'll call this Choking Hazard 2. So that's the one I had before, and now if I go to wherever I stuck it, there we go. Choking Hazard 2. So I'll drop that in. And you can see, yeah, I did make this one shorter. You don't need all that extra stuff I put in there. So I will do this one, delete that. Now this doesn't have to be all that special. I'm doing 0.2, 20%, and hit generate, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so we got that, and we can see there it is going up, just as planned. So let me go save the G code and Choking Hazard. Choking Hazard 2. Then go save this G code and print it out and then fiddle with it. Okay, so I finally got one printed out, a new one printed out based on that design, and I also put it up on Thingiverse. But before I go into some more details, let me go over the numbers. So this took 1 hour and 51 minutes to print. It took 1.7 cents worth of electricity, and it weighs 0.012 kilograms, which comes at $20 per roll, comes out to 24 cents worth of material. Total cost to do this was 26 cents. So not bad. Now, to go over some other details, I put this up on Thingiverse. It happens to now be thing 3298630. And I put 2 files up there. I put the actual guy here. And also to demonstrate it, I put one that's cut in half. So you can kind of see what's going on. So now again, I don't want to overemphasize the danger of this. The idea is if you have a small part, that's fine. You can print small parts. Or if you have a big part that could break into smaller pieces. But if you want to play it safe, anything that's small you want to keep out of toddlers' hands. So in my example where I have to go do this, oh, I don't have to. I'm doing a conference in June, going to a conference. And last time I was there, I didn't think about it. I think all my stuff was actually fairly large. So I lucked out. But I put all this stuff on the table for people to touch and feel. It was 3D printed. And you know, some toddlers could have gone up there and grabbed some stuff. But as I recall, everything was big. But now I'm changing things up. So this year, I had these last year. I printed out a bunch of little small 3D printed carabiners. And so if I take this, looks like I'm good. If you go from a side view, you can see, and we have to get some sunlight. Oh, there we go. Can't even get in there. However, a different thing I was going to do, oh, no, I did print this out last year as a demo. I had a little tiny snowman, but I only printed out 1 or 2 and held on to pretty tight, so they weren't out for display. And he, of course, fits in there very easily. So I can stick him in here, and you can see he fits in there real easily. So this is something you're going to want to keep out of the hands of toddlers. I also had like a little mini Nefertiti bust that I printed out last year. And well, kind of get it in there, but looks like I'm safe on that one. But this year I had a thought. Since I'm printing so many of these carabiners out to hand out, I was going to give some away in parts so that, some of these kids could mix and match the parts. And the bigger part, I'll take one apart. Take one of these guys apart. The idea is I'm going to put them in a bowl and kids could grab them. But this, the big part, not a problem. We're good. However, this little guy, the handle, the door, I can put him in here. Oops. Got too much shadow on. There, it goes in there just fine. It's something I don't want to have near a toddler. So if I'm going to go through this idea, if I'm going to put a bowl out for these kids, I need to do it in such a way that it's behind and high up and well guarded, so that I'll avoid this danger. But also, who knows what you have in your house? This might be an important thing. In my house right now, my youngest one's 10, so I don't have to worry about this. But had I started 3D printing years ago, this could have been a concern because these things are bright, they're shiny, they're interesting. And if you got a toddler running around, they're going to want to grab it. So, anyway. Oh, and last thing before I close out this video, I did go look on Amazon, and there's actually a couple there. I found a couple of these choke tests. So I'll put the links to that in the show notes just in case somebody actually wants one of these, but it's more fun to 3D print one out, right? But if you do 3D print one out, after you print it out, confirm the measurements, because if you resize it or anything, or STL files are unitless, if you print this the wrong size, you might have the wrong idea. So anyway, this was interesting. I learned something. I'm going to be a little safer when it comes to this conference and not leave little tiny things out. Anyway, I hope this video was interesting. Hope to help someone out there. Anyway. Hey, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, hey, give it a thumbs down. Also, if you like what we were doing here, subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. And lastly, have a piece of info to share? Just post a comment.